The Department of Education has killed off Project Easier, the data collection tool that they've been using for the past several years. And while that sounds like a great thing, in truth, it just means that they're going to be using a new tool to collect that same data. That new tool is called Student Reporting in Iowa, or SRI for short. The Student Reporting in Iowa application takes a much different approach to reporting the errors that I've been sending to you in PDF format. In this video, I'm going to show you how those errors are going to be reported to you. So I'm going to switch over to my desktop here. So on a daily basis, you're going to get this document right here. It's called val.err.exports.csv. Being a CSV file, this is just a comma-separated values file, which means that it is ideally opened with Microsoft Excel. Now, in most cases, if you double-click just right on the file, it will open in Excel. But if it doesn't, you can always open it manually from within Excel. If you just open a blank document, you can go to File and Open and navigate to the location of that file. You might have to switch this from all readable documents to all files, but then you can just click on the Open button and it will open right up. Now when this does open, all of these columns are set at the same width, which makes it kind of difficult to read. If you click in the upper left-hand cell, you should be able to select all of the data in your document. And then I'm just going to choose one of these columns here. I'm going to double-click on the line that separates column A from column B. What that does is it looks at each column, figures out how wide it should be to accommodate the longest piece of information in that column, and then automatically resizes everything. So after I've done that, I get a document that looks like this. Now you notice that if I scroll over to the right here, there's actually some additional information over here. What we're going to do is we're going to take this one step further here. On this column called Record Identifying Fields, I'm going to click on that single column, and then from my data menu, I'm going to select the option Text to Columns, because this column actually has several pieces of information here. It's got the school number, it's got a local course title, it's got a local course number. Down the file further, we'll have like student names and that sort of thing in here. And all of this information is all in the same column. We want to break that into separate columns to make this a little easier to deal with. So under the data menu, I select Text to Columns, and this is a delimited set of information. So I select delimited and click next, and it wants to know what are we using to delimit or separate those individual pieces of information. Well, it's not a tab, it's actually a comma. So I click on comma, and you get a preview here showing, okay, well, I'm going to separate these fields in this way. I'm going to click on next and just click on finish. And now that I've done that, you'll see that it has actually broken out. We've got the school number here. If I double click on this column separator here, it expands that. Now we've got local course titles and our local course numbers. And really what's good about doing this is the fact that when you get this file, you'll notice if you look at the school number here, we've got school 572, we've got school 209, 109. You've got every single error in the entire school district coming at you, and you're going to want to be able to filter that off a little bit to where you're only seeing the errors that are relevant to your building. So what we're going to do is if we click on that upper left-hand cell again that selects all of the data in our spreadsheet, we can now select the filter button here. And when I click on that filter button, what it does is it takes the very top row that has the column headers in it, and it creates these little drop-down menus for us. And we're going to scroll over to this first one here that says Record Identifying Fields, because that has our school number in it. And so if I click in that column E, we'll see that we've got all of our school numbers listed here. Now if I am at, I don't know, say Central Middle School, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the top box called Select All, and that's going to deselect everything. And now I'm going to toggle on the two options that have 209 in here. And then close this. And now that I've done that, the only error messages that I'm seeing are for Central Middle School. Now I'm going to resize all of my columns here again. And from here on out, if I start on column A, we'll see that each line is an error, and it tells us the kind of error it is. So anything that's fatal is a deal breaker. Warnings will show up separately as a warning. This check code, this is an internal reference that the DE uses. This is just saying this is a course record and it's checking rule number 625, basically. And it found a problem with that particular error check. And here's the message that is associated with that check code. And then a description. And then you have to remember to scroll over to the right, because this is where we get the specifics of what the problem is. So in this case, we have school number 209, Math 8, and we've got our local course number. But the problem is that the grade span must be within 0 through 88 for a non-secondary level course. And so that would be the issue that we need to address. If we're missing section teacher folder numbers, it'll tell us that here. If we're missing a state ID number, we'll list that here. And state IDs are still going to be taken care of by me for the time being. We scroll down further. This column D is really going to be the column that you're going to be looking at to know what the problem is. Value 1 for PK attendance is invalid because it is not one of 0, 2, or 3. So if we're looking at this particular line here, if we were to scroll over further to the right, you would see the student's first and last name, so you knew which student this was being an issue with. But what we could do here is open up that student's record and make sure that the PK attendance indicator is set to either a value of 0, 2, or 3, whatever is the appropriate code there. So you're going to be receiving a copy of this file on a daily basis. You're going to want to make sure to filter this by your school number after you've broken out that column into its individual components. Each new file that I send out will supersede any previous files that you have already received. So if you get a file one day and you're making notes in that file, the very next day that file is null and void. And so I would encourage you not to try to use one of these files as, say, a master file or anything like that, because the next one you get the very next day really is going to absolutely take the place of any previous files that I've sent out. So all of our errors have to be cleaned up by October 1st. The Department of Education is compressing that timeline for us even further. If you have any questions, make sure to give me a call, send me an email, and we'll get it taken care of, or get an answer for you as quickly as we can.